2010 shows the gang beating Browder, being held back, then barging into an isolation cell and beating him again. Corrections officers were powerless.
I mean, this seems like Lord of the Flies. What's going on here?
Utter confusion. There is obviously a lack of control. They do not have the capacity, and this is not to demean the officers. They are clearly outnumbered, and they do not have the physical capacity to totally protect the inmate.
This video was obtained by the New Yorker magazine, which first reported Kalief Browder's story. 2 years after the gang beating, this video shows Browder being slammed to the ground, his head smashed, this time by a corrections officer, after Browder appears to say something to him.
Verbal assaults don't count. If we in corrections responded to every verbal statement that was made that was derogatory in nature, we would be fighting every minute of every hour. Right? That is commonplace. It is part of the culture.
Browder was sent to Rikers for allegedly stealing a backpack in the Bronx. He always maintained his innocence, but was kept in prison for 3 years without a trial. 2 of those years in solitary confinement. He was ultimately released. The charges dropped.
No apology, no nothing. They just said, "Oh, case dismissed. Don't worry about nothing." Like, what do you mean don't worry about nothing? I just took over 3 years of my life. I didn't get to go to prom, graduation, nothing. Those are the main years. I'm never going to get those years back. Never.
And he never did. This past Saturday, Kalief Browder committed suicide, hanging himself out a window of his mother's home. His family is now suing the city, the police department, the Bronx DA, and the New York Department of Corrections for $20 million. Arnett Gaston, a former commanding officer at Rikers, is baffled by what happened to this young man.
I cannot fathom why a person would be in that type of isolation for so long a period of time.
Contacted by CNN, an official with New York's Department of Corrections said Kalief Browder's death is a tragedy, that their thoughts and prayers are with his family. The official said the officer who slammed Browder to the floor is being retrained, that the inmates who beat him were disciplined, and that the gang incident is still being investigated. Since Browder's release, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio has introduced reforms, moving to limit the number of cases where inmates are held at Rikers for a year while their cases are still pending, and ending solitary confinement for teenage detainees. Brian Todd, CNN, Washington.
With